What's up guys? It's Savannah from The Savvy Traveler on Instagram and on YouTube, and today I'm going to give you guys a tutorial on how I create my videos. So I'm going to break down my thought process when it comes to creating videos. I think it's really vital to kind of have the pre-filming, the filming, and then the post-processing or the editing. Okay, step number one is have a purpose. So with the different purposes, I do three main kind of videos. I do wedding videos, I do my more comical videos, comedy sketches, and then I do my cinematic travel videos. Today we're just going to focus on how I create my cinematic travel videos. For today's example, I'm going to use Sun and Fun. So I'm going to say, alright, Sun and Fun is coming up, that is my purpose. So, step number one is complete. We have our purpose. Step number two is picking your music. The reason that music is so important to me when it comes to creating a video is because before I even started filmmaking, I was a photographer, a dancer, and a singer. I was trying to think of a way to combine all my loves, and then came videography. So picking music is vital because I'm building my whole piece of video choreography to the set of music, and if the music is boring or if it's lame or if you end up hating the song after you listen to it like 5 times, it's not going to work for you, because let me tell you, if anyone's been around me while I edit a video, they know that I listen to that song over and over and over again, and they end up listening to it over and over and over again, and it can be really annoying.
So no annoying sounds, right?
Does this count as annoying?
Now when it comes to picking music, I advise that you pick a song you like, obviously, but also a song that fits the vibe of the film you're trying to make. So with our example of Sun and Fun, I was like, what kind of music can I choose that will really, encapsulate the whole feel of the air show of sun and fun and being with friends and planes. I picked a song called Sun and Tons. It has like a really good beat and it has those like summery vibes, and I thought it was perfect. And now that I have the song, I personally think it's super important to know that song really, really well. So when I'm actually shooting, I can be like, oh, in this piece of this music, this kind of angle or this kind of transition will look really cool. So we have our step one, which is our purpose, Sun and Fun. Step number two, we have our music, Sun and Tons, and we've listened to it a lot of times. Now, step number three is equipment. And a lot of you might be like, well, shouldn't equipment be step number one? Because how can you film without equipment? And obviously having equipment is important, and I just say having equipment, not having a certain kind of equipment, because I don't want you to think that you can't create a really beautiful cinematic video without this certain camera or this drone or this lens, because you can create wonderful pieces of art with just your iPhone. You can do it! I'll let you guys know what kind of equipment I have because I get that question all the time, but do not think that you have to have my equipment to create the kind of videos that I make. So I only advise people, upgrading to these cameras once they've spent time shooting and using other equipment and really getting the skill as the artist rather than relying on the skill of the equipment. So when I first started shooting videos, I started on a T3i, which is a really old DSLR. And I was on that for a while with just the kit lens. If you know anything about cameras, you get the camera body and it usually comes with one lens, which is called the kit lens. And it's usually not super high quality, but it works with the camera, and it was nicer than anything I've ever had before, so I was like all for it. So after I had the T3i, I upgraded to a T5i, which is a little bit nicer model, as you can imagine. And then I made the jump to the Canon 70D, which was like massive jump for me. I'm like, wow, this can do video so well. And I still had the kit lens though. And now what I have is what I'm actually filming this on, but my roommate has one too, so I'll show you guys. I have the Canon 5D Mark IV, and this is my favorite camera to date. Obviously it's kind of expensive, but it was a good investment for me personally because I do this so much. The lens that I have is the 24-70 Canon zoom lens. I also shoot with my GoPro Hero 7, which is my newest camera equipment, and I love this so much. This is the camera that I use mostly for my in-plane shots. I know a lot of you ask the question of how to get my cockpit shots, and this has been the best camera because with this baby, it's a little bit too big to really get the whole feel of the cockpit and inside the plane, and like, how are you gonna take a selfie while you fly with this giant thing? It's really awkward. Along with equipment, I get asked all the time what editing software that I use, and I use my MacBook Pro, and I have Adobe Premiere Pro on my laptop. And Adobe Premiere Pro I think is the best program. And yeah, that's the equipment that I pretty much use. And now step number 4, which is preparing for the event. If you're a photographer, videographer, then you know how important it is to have all the batteries, all the memory cards, chargers, cords, wires, extras of everything.
I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty.
This is my ghetto little bag that I bring with me everywhere when I shoot stuff. It's been through a lot, as you can see. I never leave unless I have like 5 memory cards with me and like 5 charged batteries and my battery charger, so can't stress it enough. It's really important. So I know a lot of you are probably like, this is all boring, I just want to get to the fun stuff of the transitions, but I promise you that just like in flying, you have to start with the basics. You can't just jump in a plane for the first time, do an aerobatic routine, and then accomplish it perfectly. To me, adding the transitions is like doing aerobatics in a plane with all the loops and the spins and whatever. But you have to start with your Cessna 172. Start with the basics, you know, the little beater trainer plane, and then work your way up so that you're comfortable and confident when you have this fantastic film on its own, and then you can add the transitions just to elevate it. Okay, so now for step number 5, we're at Sun and Fun. We have our equipment, we have our music, we are super prepared with our little backpack and all of our accessories. Now comes the daunting task of actually shooting the video. Can't stress enough how important B-roll is. And if you don't know what B-roll is, it's kind of like background roll. It's all the stuff that plays in a movie where it's like that montage scene with all these clips. Basically, the videos that I make are completely all B-roll because I don't vlog, you know, so I'm not like talking to a camera and then like have montagey clips. My whole video is B-roll. Some tips and tricks I have for you guys of what you should be filming when you're somewhere is film things that interest you, because if they interest you, then they're most likely going to interest the audience or the viewer who's going to be watching your video. Another tip that I have is doing in-camera transitions, and here comes the fun part.
F is for friends who do stuff together.
Because I know y'all want the transitions, so a lot of my transitions that I do are actually all done in the camera. What? One of the easiest ones I can explain to you is doing a swoop up to the sky, and then when it comes down from the sky, it's a different scene. So you're panning, and then you pick a point where you want to stop that scene and go to another scene. So you're panning something, maybe it's kids playing with bubbles, and you got as much shot as you want, and then you swiftly bring the camera up. And I advise doing it in a swift motion because when you're in the editing process, I do a lot of speed ramping. If you don't know what that is, that's when I have a slow part and then it goes really quick and then it goes back to slow. And I do that all manually. This might sound like a lot of jargon to you guys. I'm sorry. It's hard to explain one thing without explaining the other, you know. But basically, if you're panning and then you flip it up really fast, you're doing the speed ramping in camera as well. So you're making it faster, and then go somewhere else, go to a different, maybe you're like at the park now and you want to shoot this cute scene of the Eiffel Tower because now we're in Paris. And then for the way that you would finish that transition is you'd start the camera up in the sky, and then you'd quickly pan it down to the start of your study, so the Eiffel Tower, and then you'd slowly pan it down. So a big thing with that is making sure that you have enough pieces that go together. So if you shoot an up transition and then you don't shoot from up going down transition, you're not going to have its partner, you know? So if you shoot one going up, you have to shoot another one coming back down, or it's just not going to work out. So with like the actual shooting, it's really important to get different angles. And I really want to stress this because all the cool transitions aside, if you just don't have interesting angles, it's not going to be an interesting film. A lot of times you shoot kind of eye level. You're like, oh, this is what I'm seeing. I'm going to shoot exactly what I see. But think of it from different perspectives. You're like, oh, what if I was a little kid? Oh, let me get down low and kind of shoot up. And maybe I'll like pan up like this. Your camera is, you know, it's not stuck to anything. And to also answer another question, I do not use a gimbal. Everything I do is handheld. And I've gotten really good at having really steady hands because it really bothers me when any of my scenes are like a little bit shaky. I'm like, why? But being as steady as you can, a lot of people use gimbals, and that's a contraption that steadies it for you. I just like to do everything by hand. A trick for that, there's a couple of tricks to do that. One is having your camera strap and just outstretching it as far as you can, and it kind of works as a steady tool for you. And then you kind of use it to pivot like this. And I don't use this one a lot, but it's a really good tool. What I mostly do is, because I like move my camera around so much, I hold it by here, I hold it underneath, kind of grabbing the lens in here, and it's kind of hard. You just like move with the camera, so you are the gimbal. Alright guys, so now we're at step number 5, I think, or maybe it's 6. Now comes the editing part. Oh my gosh. To me, my video is a puzzle, and it comes in all these little puzzle pieces. They're all broken up, and it's my job to find ways to put them together. Now we're going to start editing, and to help you guys the most that I can, I'm going to be showing you on my laptop what I'm doing. So we're going to plug in Mr. Hard Drive and get to work. Alright guys, welcome to my computer. Going down here, going to Premiere Pro, which I already have open. Now we're going to create a new project. Going to name it Tutorial. Alright. File, import, and we're going to go to my passport. And let's see. Sun and Fun, since we're going to stick with that theme. I'm just going to take a handful because it's going to take forever to import them all. So, this is the process that I use. Obviously, I'm sure there's a ton of different ways to do this, but this is just how I've been doing it from the beginning. So I go up here. This is where all your, if you can see my mouse, this is where all the files are going to be on this little side. And we're going to go to this first clip. Here we are. What I like to do, instead of playing it, because I shoot everything in slow motion, I kind of drag through the clip. I'm like, okay, this is the stuff that I got. Oh, this is a transition. I started up, and then I zoomed over to this. So I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to click this little thingamajigger. It says Markin. That means I'm going to start the clip right there. I'm going to drag it until I want it to stop. So I'm like, okay, that's a good clip. I'm going to cut it right there. I'm going to, you can't tell what I'm doing, but I'm clicking on the actual footage. I'm dragging it. It says drop media here to create sequence. So I'm going to drop it right there. And voila, now you have a timeline. So here we are. We got this nice little clip. It starts up, zooms over to this veterans thing. Now if we play this, you can see it's like really boring, it's really slow, it's kind of shaky, and you're like, wow, that kind of sucks. What I'm going to show you here is the way I get that quick pan to here. This is called speed ramping. You're going to drag this blue line to where you want the speed to stop. So I'm going to start the slow-mo here. So you can see here, I'm going to click on that clip. When I click off, it's that. When I click it, it's gray. You're going to press Command K. When you Command K, you're cutting it. So I made that little cut. You can see now it's 2 separate clips. Now you're going to highlight this first clip. You're going to double click on the Mac. You press 2 fingers on the pad. Either way, or it's called a right click, I guess. But on the Mac, you have to press 2 fingers down. You're going to scroll down to speed duration. See where the speed says 100? That means it's going at its 100%. I want to go faster than that, so I'm going to press, well, I'm going to type in 600. Oh look, I made it super short. Now you drag the second half over to the first half, and now let's watch what happens. Oh look, I made it a lot faster. Now I don't necessarily like it yet because it's a little too slow for me. So I'm going to go to speed duration. Maybe let's try 900. That might be a little too slow. Oh, that's a little bit better. This one's a little bit too wobbly for me as well. So to undo something, you press Command Z. And you can keep doing that until you undid all the hard work that you just did. Now I'm going to show you guys a cool effect that I love that's in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's in your Effects tab, which is on this right side. I'm going to type in Warp, and then you'll see Warp Stabilizer. This is awesome because it'll stabilize your shaky clips. So I'm going to take that, drag it over. So now it's analyzing the background. And it'll tell you if it's too shaky or not. So look, this really worked out for us. It was a smooth enough clip to begin with. And so now when we watch it, I don't know if you could tell before, but now it's just buttery smooth. Like your perfect landing you did on that one day, you know. If you add a warp stabilizer to your clip, you have to nest it to be able to add a speed change to it. What I mean is, I added this warp stabilizer effect to my clip. So I drug this onto this. Now you have to right click and go over to nest. You have to press nest, press OK. Now we nested this clip. And you have to do that if you want to go back over here, press your Command K, and let's add a speed duration of 900 and watch what happens. Look, there it went. It went super fast. I'll show you what happens if you don't nest it. So let's take away the nest. I Command Z a bunch of times. Now I have the warp stabilizer on it, but I did not nest it. And now I'm going to try to Command K and speed duration it. And as you can already see, as we go to play it back, it says warp stabilizer and speed cannot be used on the same clip. It's a little tip for you guys. So what I do with each clip is I don't just take one piece from each clip, I take multiple pieces. So I took this piece right here. In this particular clip, I'm just going to take one piece. And I just showed you guys all the editing just to show you. I don't usually edit anything until I have all the pieces of clips that I want. Now I'm going to go to the next clip. Okay, I'm inside the hot air balloon. Oh, I threw it. So I'm like, I like that part. So I press the squiggly line, press play. Look, I'm throwing the ball, and there. That's a transition shot. I press the squiggly line, grab it, put it on my timeline. What I like to do is separate the two. So if it's a transition shot, I will move it to this higher row. So these are both transition shots. And then let's say I have this part where I do a cartwheel, stop it, put the little marquee thing. That's not a transition shot, just a regular clip. So I'm going to put it below these so that when I go back to choosing my clips for my editing, I know which ones are which. This is another transition shot that you do in camera that I did not talk about. And I'll take my hand and then I'll hit the lens. And it's black, and then the next shot you have is the person pulling their hand away. And so that's a really easy, really cool transition shot you can do. Anyways, we're going through all our clips. So I can just usually kind of go super fast and like, oh, that's a good shot right there. This is was one where I did a ground and I did a sky. So now let's see the next one. Okay, I zoomed in on this prop. This is like the angles I was telling you about. Like there's a shot of the plane but coming up close and like really getting that prop. And then this is one I like to do that you've probably seen a lot, is a spinning transition. So I'll just kind of take the camera and then rotate it really fast. Like if you saw in my Sun and Fun video in this clip where it was like zoom, 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 zoom. I think that's really fun. But you can just kind of tell what I do. I go through the clips and you can see in a lot of my clips I do that transition like I was telling you about. I'm like, oh, that goes up to the sky. I'm going to stop it there, and I'm actually going to show you guys how I piece these sky transitions together. Another trick is sometimes I like to match the skies. Like if you can see in this sky, it's pretty blue and cloudy, which I can use with this other sky clip, but it might not flow as well. This sky is pretty white, and so is this sky, and so those are probably a better fit. So just for showing you purposes, I'm going to put these two together, and even without doing much, it already looks pretty good. It goes up, and now I have that sky coming back down, like so. But to make it look even better, at the point where I start panning up, I'm going to press Command K, make sure the clip is highlighted, right click for speed duration. I'm going to go to about a 400 because it's a tiny clip. Drag that over to this guy, it goes up, and then drag this to where I want it to slow down, highlight, right click, speed duration, we'll do 600 because it's a little bit of a bigger clip. Let's watch how that works. Okay, look at that nice seaplane. Oh, it goes up, and look at that. And I'd probably cut this even more so there's not too much of a sky on the second one. It's a lot of like tweaking. That I liked a little bit better, but I like maybe less of this clip. It's a lot of fine tuning, and I would be doing this obviously with the music underneath, not just like this. And there you go. That's a nice little sky transition. That's super easy. It didn't take any fancy editing really, other than this speed ramping. I would obviously do this editing after I had laid out all the clips on my timeline. And after I had laid out all the clips on my timeline, I'll usually import the music. I'll do that before or after, it doesn't really matter. I'll go to iTunes and let's look up Sun and Tans. There's that song. I kind of grab it and just drag it. It's super nice, you can just drag it from iTunes into my timeline, put it on the music layer. As you can see, these eyeballs are the visual layer and the M is for the music. And you can hear the song playing. And so what I will do when I lay out my clips is I'll usually lay them out here. So I'll have the music laid down here and all the clips will be laid out after the music, so that when I piece the thing together I can grab my puzzle pieces from over here and be like, okay, I'm going to drag this over here and then I can drag this over here. I like to grab and drag like that. Let's grab this edited part. We're going to put that at the beginning. Make this big as we can see. Look at that, we have the beginning of our video. But that's where I'm going to stop with my tutorial because it's probably super long already and a lot of information and I don't want to overwhelm you guys. But I really wanted to touch upon all the aspects that I think are important. I know I didn't go super heavily into the editing, but I think my in-camera transitions and then how to put them together on your timeline is a good place to start. And if you want me to do a video purely on how I edit and like how I do all my transitions and just a purely tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro, then I'd love to do that, but just leave me a comment down below telling me that you want that, and if I get enough interest then I would definitely love to do that for you guys. But I hope you guys really like this and that it helps you and maybe inspires you to start shooting your own footage. And if you create a video after watching this, please let me know because I'd love to watch it. If you have any questions or any things that were a little bit unclear or that you want me to expand upon more, like my equipment and the lenses and maybe more about music, there's ways to check if music is copyrighted, if you're allowed to post it or not. I can go more in depth with all these things, but obviously I can't make like a 5-hour video because that would be insane. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time and for all your support that you've given me on my videos. It means a lot because as you can see, it's a lot of work and a lot of obsession and a lot of planning that goes into creating these. And I can't wait for Oshkosh 2019. I will be making an epic video and I hope to make you guys a part of it. Always remember to be kind, and if you want to purchase one of these or a sticker, the link is in my Instagram. 100% of the proceeds go to a scholarship fund for an underprivileged pilot that we're trying to help out. So when we hit our goal amount, we'll be donating that to maybe someone like you. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Never stop flying. Never stop chasing your dreams and reaching your goals and being kind. And yeah, see ya.